Hey everybody, welcome back to Three Swords Productions. Tonight, Nathan and I have an absolute banger for you guys. Ace versus Katakuri. This one's sure to be somewhere in the meta. Katakuri is going to be dominant. You ready to get started?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right.
Alrighty. Yeah, so we played this game, Ace versus Katakuri. I'm on the Katakuri side. Steven here is on the Ace side. And these are pretty stock builds. I don't think there's anything too out of the ordinary with these at the moment.
Well, I mean, yeah, my list isn't quite stock. It is a list that has done something in an overseas meta, but it is an OPO4 deck actually with 0 OPO4 cards in it just from a tournament, which is quite interesting because it actually is playing the Striker package. So you're going to see, quite a few copies of the Striker come through the game here. As I cycle, look at the top cards of my deck. But that card's actually been feeling really nice in this deck. Adding that control layer where you get just a lot of options and trying to pick exactly the answer to what your opponent's doing, but often that answer just looks like Flame Emperor.
Yeah, Flame Emperor is proving to be an extremely good card, so definitely a good way to search that up.
We are going to start here with a buggy that is going to miss, so no cards will be added to my hand, but we are going to play the Striker here. A perfect curve filler, some would say.
Some would say.
And I will pass back to Katakuri.
Yep, Katakuri side, up to 3 Dawns, so you're either trying to Paro Sparrow here, or if you can do some amount of Charlotte Pudding again, then searching up is always great. We're going to come in for 7 here. We get to look at a life. I think valuing our own life to set up our own triggers early here is important. So I saw on top of my deck was a 10-drop. I want to put the 10-drop on the bottom so that that's not immediately in my hand. Would rather try and trigger something off the top of my life. And we played a Sanji, which can help pressure down the board a little bit if it starts getting out of hand, but it's also just a card draw if I want to get in there with it.
Okay, we're going to pay 2 to tap the Striker here, and we are looking at a couple of events. We're going to add Whitebeard Pirates to our hand. But yeah, interesting to put the Sanji into play there. That does pressure the buggy a little bit, but some of my bigger characters are not going to get pressured at all, and it also kind of sets the Sanji up to die to some Marcos. So that was an interesting line in order to pressure my earlier game. So we'll see if that pays off for you. We're going to come across the table for 6 after adding Whitebeard Pirates to hand. And a Paro Sparrow off the life, discarding Buzzcut Moki. Now that's exactly what you want to see. Whitebeard Pirates comes down, adds a card to my hand. We're going to look for a character. That Marco is looking like exactly the killer for the Sanji there. That's going to feel pretty good. And we're going to pass back to Katakuri.
Yep, and since we see him add Marco, now we're going to be thinking in our head like, hey, we should probably attack with the Sanji so we don't just lose value on it. Kind of works with the hand we've got going on too. Not a lot of great plays this turn. I think we have just the 4-drop play, but instead we could also just start attacking his life, force him to find some answers that way, since he didn't play to the board this turn. He played more to his hand with the Striker play. So we'll see exactly what falls through, but
what's interesting is that 4 Dawn turn is actually kind of nothing for Ace. Like he doesn't really have the Katakuri line where it's equip a Dawn and attack. So he's looking at trying to fill that with adding cards to his hand, playing the 1-drops. But you're not really playing much else. So you're certainly not going to want to put a Jozu on the table. My hand here is clogged with a lot of top end cards that are going to be very effective at closing this game out, but are not going to do much right now. So that Ezo pickup there is going to look really, really nice. On the next turn, as we can Ezo plus Marco to go ahead and get some cool value there as we go to 6 Dawn.
Yep, and I looked at my life with Katakuri to see what was on top, make sure I wanted to add it to my hand or what I wanted to do with it. And I actually kept it there and added it to my hand with Sanji, and that would be a 7-drop Linlin, so we'll have that on next turn, be able to play out and start brushing down the board that way.
Paro Sparrow going to come across for 7. Let's see if I can counter out. So we're going to go Jozu plus Ezo. Ezo down. Okay, so that was part of a 6 Dawn play there, but we are going to value keeping our life here at 3 rather than that smooth curve. We do still have Striker if we want to use that, and then not play the Marco this turn. That is certainly a line open to us. Let's see what the play is here.
Yeah, it's interesting with the last Dawn, what you can do. But I think playing the Marco, I think you need to get on board a little bit here, be able to play some stuff out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we also have the Otama. So Otama plus Marco on the Paraspero, though. That is definitely something. So Ace is going to come across and take care of the Sanji, and we are going to actually follow through with the Otama plus Marco line since we don't have Izo anymore. Um, and that gets rid of Paraspero. Now you are going to add a card to your hand, but we have established an early dominance on the board. So now your 7 drops, even your 8 drops look a little bit worse. Although 8 drop still has a really nice target. You are going to 7 Don though, so you're not going to be able to play it this turn. I'm going to get one more turn with my Marco before chaos is raining down.
Definitely. So. Yep, and so we untap. We're not super pressured, so it should be a pretty easy 7 drop here. Play that out. My opponent can figure out what to do with that. Usually telegraphed whenever your opponent attacks for a naked 5k, although I guess it's against the buggy. But whenever they attack with the naked 5k with the Katakuri and they're not using the ability, feels like they're going to use all their Dawn for something big.
Telegraphed or not, it is still pretty good, so it comes down, and I do have the option, do I heal him for 1, or do I crit myself? And I think at 4 life, it's pretty easy to just say, hey, go back to 5. Unfortunately, we have lost some of the pacing that we've gained, and, one of his life was Paraspero. Let's hope the second one is not also Paraspero, but an Ace pickup there is colossal. Like, our hand did not really have any threats. We just picked up something really big. Now, the awkwardness comes when we realize that, Ace is a removal piece, not something that you play to the board. So it is not going to be really effective this turn. But next turn, I'm guaranteeing that 8K is looking to connect with Ace. So that will be a nice follow-up play on the following turn. But what do we do with this Dawn on this turn? Striker looks like an attractive option. I mean, this is like Striker paying dividends already.
Yeah, I think this is us checking in on the Striker, seeing, hey, what are we going to be looking at for this turn? You really want to keep digging for a Flame Emperor. That's really going to be something that's going to set this apart.
Yes.
It would have been very good this turn, obviously, to be able to answer here and attack in, but
that would have been so nice. You play Charlotte Linlin on curve, and then I just hit you with Flame Emperor back, and then swing with an 8K to deal 2 damage back to you, put you down to 3. I would have been very happy to see that, but unfortunately we are going to miss, so we play Whitebeard Pirates here and add 4-cost Marco to our hand.
Yeah, I like that a lot too.
Yeah, it's just a nice little body that we can throw on the table here.
I think it's important because you do want to add a body to the table. You want to be able to still do something if I were to 8-drop Katakuri.
Yeah.
So it gives you something on board afterwards. So I do like adding that there instead of the Izo, even though the Izo might represent more value, quote unquote.
We're going to swing 5 at you, and you're going to counter out with Peckhams. Now, will we swing 7 with the Marco, or will we just leave 1 Dawn up? We're going to swing 6 with the Marco, leaving 1 Dawn back after we play 4-cost Marco on the following play.
I think that's fine. I don't have too many cards in my hand. I could counter out still, but I have 5 life. It seems like a pretty easy just, hey, maybe we'll get a good trigger here.
Right.
And, hey, look, we do.
Charlotte Cracker comes down, and that feels really, really gnarly. Marco going to come down. And we are going to see the 1 Dawn open. Now we're holding Guard Point and Radical Beam. Radical Beam, of course, still only countering for 2k right now, but we are at 3. So if 1 damage does happen to come across the table, we are equipped to now have a 4k counter in our hand. That's going to feel quite nice. So we'll see, kind of how this 3rd life here shakes on the Ace side. But right now, we're on yellow, and we are looking at a really, really nice looking Katakuri on the Marco. That's one good way to deal with Marco.
Definitely.
And as a small consequence here, that's also a nice way to deal with Radical Beams that are being represented. Radical Beam counters, but hey, guess what? Not if you have 4 life.
Yeah. Definitely true. I looked at life there, and I saw Ace. I knew Ace was going to be super good attacking back on my 7-drop if I were to give it to him, so I added to the bottom of his life. It's also a really good card for him to add in like his last turn where it doesn't counter out of his hand. So an awkward draw there. So I like that a lot.
We sort of see the blood in the water, so we are going to counter out with Guard Point and not even worry about the Ace, or not even worry about the Radical Beam this turn. But we do see Charlotte Linlin connecting to put me down to 2. Don't think I was really expecting that line, so, of course, that's there. But Flame Emperor to clean up the Cracker is pretty nice. So, I really did have to consider, do I actually play this to blow up the Cracker, or do I hold it back to blow up Linlin or Katakuri on the following turn? And it's really, really difficult because I'm holding Ace already as one form of removal. And so playing the Flame Emperor, there's that life trigger feels like I got some free Dawn. Although I did lose Flame Emperor. So it just comes down to like how much time do I think I have. and with your gigantic bodies on the table, it feels like not a lot of it.
Yeah.
I'm expecting 10 drop to come down on the following turn here. And I just don't think I like the play pattern where, I play the Flame Emperor, don't establish a body to the table, just to remove one of the cards that you played 2 turns ago. It feels kind of not great. So
Yeah. You could have like attacked it, but I was so you could have like blown up the 8K Katakuri there,
Mm-hmm.
and then attack the win-win. But it's very easy for me to counter out at that point.
Right.
So
yeah,
I get what you're saying with that.
I mean, you're just a 2K deck, so it's kind of
Right.
It's so difficult. But Striker here, gonna add another card to a hand potentially, and that is a miss.
Unfortunate. It's probably bound to happen at some point, but doesn't feel good when you're trying to tread some water here.
No, not at all. So we are definitely looking for another Flame Emperor here to kind of break parity. If you pass back and you play 10 drop here, and I'm able to just Flame Emperor down your Katakuri, I think I'm actually feeling pretty good in this game. So I like the Striker for how much digging it's able to do. Like, it feels so solid. 5K coming across the table here.
Yep, I think the play in this turn is to play 10 drop, pretty easy, but we want to attack first. We don't care that he has Marco in hand. If he plays it again, that's 5 done. He doesn't have to do anything else, so that's fine with us. We'd rather get rid of a card that we don't know because we know ace is on bottom. And would you look at that? It's a Fire Fist. That's a pretty good one to get rid of here. Not doing a whole lot on the board, but at least was a trigger that we were able to escape.
It would be a difficult card to play given the high density of colossal giants that you have in play right now. 12K body and 8K body, definitely very tough to reduce down. Now, of course, an ace can reduce Katakuri down to Fire Fist range, but outside of that, I don't think that it is a card that we're really excited to see. We're kind of glad to see that crit aways. Maybe our next life will be something good, and the top of the deck holds another Fire Fist. So, of course, not a card we're going to be able to play this game. That's a little difficult.
Yeah, what's the play here?
You're at 5. I'm looking at dying on the following turn.
Yeah, it's feeling rough.
I do have Rush Zoro or Jozu's that I could put out, but of course that used a lot of my Dawn. You have 2 cards left, so
starting with the Striker, see where we're at. That's fair.
It would be really, really difficult here to climb out. I think this is GG.
That's a whiff. Yeah, that definitely feels bad.
Yeah, second Striker whiff there does not feel good.
Yeah, that feels pretty GG. 2 Radical Beams obviously helps, but there's going to be some big attacks coming in here. I'll probably take most attacks that come at me. So it doesn't even feel great there trying to whittle my life down.
Yeah, we've got the Marco on table too, so we do have some game left to play here. Let's see if I can dig out of it.
Looks like another Marco in hand too. So you could also probably put that out and rely on some fashion there.
Yeah.
But at some point, I'm cracking through for enough. It might not be this next turn, but it's probably the turn after.
Well, I've got 5-cost Marco and 4-cost Marco in hand, so we are looking at some blockers. Some action left, in the game, but it's a losing battle right now. Like my option right now is I need to get you out of resources, or I need to get you within strike range. So we're gonna make these simple attacks, hoping that you just counter out to have very few cards in hand, and then we're gonna need to control the board as well as we can. So 5-cost Marco gonna come down, take care of your searcher there, and you're gonna see the yellow player take the turn again. Now we have 3 Dawn open. We are representing basically anything. That's just kind of thrown them off. But we are actually holding 2 Radical Beams and a Fire Fist.
Okay, so this is an attack for 12. This is a pretty easy tester to see what my opponent wants to do. If they take the life, then I can really start going all in at them. If they don't take it and block the Marco, also fine with that. So we do take it. Doesn't counter. We knew it was the ace. And now we're just rationing out some Dawn. I think an 11K and a 12K makes a lot of sense. So start off with 11K.
Okay, 11 is like really big here. So if we can get out of this one, then we can get another turn. But, we're not able to deal that damage last turn.
Yeah,
so you're still at 4, or you're still at 5, rather.
Yeah. One of the things here, too, is I know that if he is able to get out of this, it's going to cost a lot of cards out of his hand. Probably a lot that he's not going to be able to save his Marco to come back again. So at least on the next turn, I should be able to get through for a lot. And I don't know exactly what's in my hand right here, but if I could play another creature or another character out to the board, that would mean that there's an untapped character that would quote unquote be safe from anything except for like Flame Emperor, from attacks or anything like that. Moving that around, but yep, just requiring a block and discarding the Fire Fist. Hey, it did come in clutch.
Yeah, it did. We found one good use for it, and that is basically the use for it every game. I really am not a fan of that card right now, so
That is fair.
I mean, this might be the best matchup for it, to be honest, but, you know, it just feels like destroying a 5K when at a certain point in the game your opponent only plays 8Ks or bigger, you know, it just feels like it's going to maybe win you the early game, but it will certainly not win you the mid game, and it definitely is not going to win you the late game, so 7-drop Ace coming down, definitely going to target the 2 monsters on the table, but, you know, when you reduce Charlotte Linland down by 3K, it's still a 9K body, and, you know, you're attacking up, and you only have 3 Dawn left, so, you know, the attack last turn to whittle my opponent's resources way down certainly helps in this moment, but I only have 1 attack on the Linland, no cards in hand really to use my Ace ability. Certainly don't think discarding 4 events exactly worth it, but, you know, either way, we can't even that line.
Yeah.
So that would be funny though. And we're gonna swing 9 with the Ace here. I think you have 2 cards left in hand, maybe only 1.
I have a single card and it's a 2K. So
and it's a 2K. Okay, all right. So if it were a 1K, then, you know, swinging the 2K over it would be pretty good, or swinging the 1K over it would be good. But unfortunately, it is a 2K, so it didn't really matter my attack. And that's basically it. There, I have 2 cards left and
1 blocker,
and a single blocker. 12K body coming at me. Pretty much GG.
Yeah, and that's what we see there. All right, let's go back to the booth.
Okay. Thoughts on Ace after that? Because I think that's like kind of where we're at right now.
I mean, Ace definitely didn't seem bad. I also liked the Striker. You added a lot of cards with that. I think
a lot of searching. Yeah.
I think I like that a lot to be able to go find that stuff. I think that game is very different if on the turns where I play the 7-drop or the 8-drop, you're able to find Flame Emperor and actually use it for good value instead of having to feel like you kind of wasted it not wasted it, but, you know, used it on just a 4-drop. If you would have had the time to be able to play that and clear something, I think that's a closer game for you a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that card came off of Life too, so that's kind of the upside of playing Katakuri is that, you know, you are playing around your opponent finding the outs in the Life, especially when, you know, in this deck, in this build for Ace, we're only playing 2 Flame Emperors, so one of them being in the Life means Katakuri has full control of when you draw that. It can be a little bit brutal there, so, and I think we saw almost that exactly, so it's tough, man. It's tough. But yeah, I think Ace sort of held its own. I think you kind of out-tempoed me at some point in the game, and there were certainly cards that could have brought it back.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a classic finisher for yellow to just,
it really
at
is.
a certain point of the game, you're no longer playing regular characters anymore. It's all just bombs.
Yeah, that's kind of, at this point, from what we're seeing in OPO3, this is the litmus test. Are you able to defeat yellow before they're able to 7, 8, 10 you? Or at least make it a closer game than them having 5 life. And I think that one was just a bit of a bad draw more than anything, but I think ultimately Ace can probably usually hold it up there.
Yeah, I mean, certainly like the Zoro-style decks are going to be able to pressure the earlier game better than Ace can. Ace is going to be more of like a mid-game finisher deck. But, you know, I am playing Buggy, I am playing Ezo, so there's always the options to, you know, kind of go wider in these matchups. It's tough, man. Marco isn't really the tool that you need in this matchup, and Ace just like really leans on Marco. Of course, the Fiery Fist have some play against you, but not after turn 8, really. So, okay. All right, guys, so that's it for the video. We will see you in the next one. Good night.